What's up? This is David. So this is for coaches who are burned out and working way too hard, and you're like asking yourself, like, does life get better? And so these are some insights and like big epiphany moments that completely changed not just my business around, but my life around within like the past year or so. Okay, so this was like some of the biggest changes practically in my life. Okay, and so I remember an old mentor of mine, not old, but like a mentor of mine was saying, like, your business model dictates your life. And it just really just hit me like, yeah, that is so true. Like, the business model you choose, it absolutely dictates your life. And then I have like a picture of like a, mentor figure here, Yoda, but here's the philosophy though. The business model you choose dictates how you spend your time, energy, and the results you ultimately generate for yourself and for others. Okay, it's probably the biggest factor that determines the quality of your life. Yes, yet most people, we don't spend time thinking about it. We don't spend time thinking about, is this model the right one for me, this business model? So if it's not the biggest decision you make, it is pretty damn close. And we design your ideal business around an epic life that you design, not to be all the way around, okay? It's less about building a business, but more about building a life that a business feeds. Have you ever thought about it that way, right? And this way, this is how we build our world, with very high rates of leverage. And we should ask this very fundamental question, or else we're going to just get burned out and the business model we're in is just not going to be sustainable. Does my life get better as the business gets bigger? Does my life get better as the business gets bigger, right? And I have some cool pictures. I like to use a lot of pictures to help flow the story, right? To help flow the lesson and the message, right? And as I remember when my mentor said that, it kept repeating in my mind, the business model becomes your life. The business model becomes your life. And the thing is, like, most of us, we structure our entire lives around the model we choose. Like, we don't design our life, we design our business and mold our life around that. Have you ever thought about that? So business becomes the center and the life becomes the revolving. But shouldn't it be the other way around, right? We had it the other way around. And then here I was in my past business. I was doing sales call after sales call. I was burning and crashing, and I was feeling my soul was getting sucked out of me. Maybe you resonate, right? I was so unhappy with the business because I was just so damn busy. And I thought this was the only way to run a business, right? Doing these soul-sucking sales calls. And the thing is this, right? I've been in the online business for like 15 years, and I've tried many other business models. Like, I was in e-commerce, I did FBA, SEO, affiliate marketing, and high ticket coaching in 2 different industries. And most recently, I had a marketing agency, which I did for a few years. And the thing is, it didn't make sense when I was in the business because I was like so deeply in the forest, I couldn't, zoom out, right? But then zooming out and seeing it retrospectively, like, the dots connected. The model becomes our life. The model becomes our life. Like, the model we choose becomes our life. So we're basically choosing our life with the model that we choose. Yet we're so quick to choose one without much thought. So we try to take advantage of we get on the bandwagon for like this next trend or like this new AI thing that we try, and then without much thought about it at all. You know what? We just like go on to like the next shiny little thing, right? But when we should strive for something that's timeless, that's based on, something that we're passionate about, right? So when we do this, we choose the wrong model. And when we do this, it feels like, especially, my past businesses, the business was built on quicksand. I was building sand castles, like this empire that I built over the years. It was built on sand, right? It was built on sand. So we try to build the building first without the architecture first. Without like a good architecture and a good blueprint and good foundations, it's just not going to stand, right? So we gotta start with like the foundations and start with a solid structure, right? Without proper engineering, the building will collapse, and that's what started happening to me, right? The foundations were freaking, it was collapsing, right? The foundations were collapsing. I was being burnt out, and I just couldn't take it anymore. Even though the money was good, life wasn't. Okay, life wasn't good. So that's my story. And in my last business, I had a marketing agency, right? And I was like so burnt out, doing calls after calls. And if it wasn't for that, managing a team and chasing after clients like who didn't show, or like churning clients because I practically crammed the sale down their throat. And then once they got onboarded, like, okay, let's go on to the next sale. Like I wasn't even focused on service anymore. And then here's a crazy thing that happened. I stumbled onto a group of secret underground marketers who were doing it totally differently. Like they had a completely different perspective on this whole digital marketing, this whole digital coaching business online. I was like, oh my God. They were doing the inverse of what every marketing guru told us, the opposite of what everyone said. And the crazy thing is, they all looked happy. Like they all had freedom, right? And it kind of reminded me of a recent like Tony Robbins and an interview with Alex Hormozy. It practically wasn't an interview. It was more like a coaching session from Tony. But then Alex, he was saying something like, hey, fuck happiness. And Tony wasn't very, happy with that kind of framing, because I remember watching some of like Alex's old videos, and this is Alex and Tony, by the way. And then he was saying something like, fuck happiness. Just start doing things. Just get things done, right? And then there was a certain point in my life where I was vibing with that. I was like, yeah, forget happiness. Let me just work on the business. Let me just, hit the sales calls. Like I kind of vibe with that at that point in life. But now in retrospect, I thought, okay, yeah, that was totally the wrong. And then, of course, like Tony corrected Alex here, right? And then it got to a point where life was all work, no life. You know what I mean? So like the money was good, but the thing is like life wasn't. But the inverse isn't good either, right? Like, money should also be good, right? But what if we ask a better question? Like, how do we do both? How do we do all of them? How do we combine passion and profit, wealth, freedom, and fulfillment? I think these matter just as equally. And I believe we can have all of them. Like we just have to ask better questions and know how to use leverage well. So I believe like a business should be fun. It should be high profits, right? And it should be sustainable. That's filled with freedom so that you can enjoy life. And so these matter just as equally, right? And that's like the entire philosophy for this whole world building thing. Because sometimes we get lost sometimes, right? So it's a good reminder to get that back to that connection and tune with the emotional side as well, right? And from my experience, when you cross logic and heart together, like abundance just flows through. And that's what Tony was reminding Alex about. It's yes, profits are important, business is important, but remember to have fun, to enjoy the ride while you are on it, because this is life we're talking about, right? So Tony puts it, heart, not just mind, right? And Vadim Zeland, a author of Reality Transurfing, amazing book, by the way, he calls this your heart sail, being in tune with your heart sail. Like when you love doing what you love doing should be the sail and the rudder, right? It should be the direction that you are going, and it should control the direction that you are going. And I believe that's this whole coaching business. That's what this whole coaching business should be all about, right? Doing what you love and then teaching it, so that it becomes like this win-win kind of thing, so that it becomes play, right? We should be doing what looks like work to others, but play to us, right? What looks like play to you, but work to others, right? And of course, being getting paid well to do it right. And that's what like the secret society of marketers were doing. They were using like Google Docs to sell high ticket coaching. And I was kind of like mind blown by this whole thing when I first, got into it. And like they all look so happy. They had like the freedom concept down. They had it down, of course, along with like high profits, right? And so like this secret underground, group of marketers, they were doing it like this. And they didn't even have a big audience doing it. So you can do this with like a tiny audience as well, right? And it broke my current worldview. They had a totally different perspective on the digital business model. Like they were doing 100K to 250K plus in MRR, right? No big team, like zero sales calls. It's crazy. Like 95% profit margins. They like one VA, that was their whole team. You know what I mean? They sell by email or chat and not calls. They sell high ticket with Google Docs, like working only 4 hours a day, sometimes 3 days a week. You know what I mean? And this is recurring high ticket, and they were like enjoying life. And I thought, this is what freedom should look like, right? That's what I wanted. And one thing kept standing out to me, like no sales calls, like selling high ticket coaching with Google Docs. And I thought it was such a bizarre thing. Like I didn't even think it was possible. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even my paradigm. Like in fact, here's a crazy thing. Like I didn't even know it was a problem. Like I thought, oh no, of course you do sales calls. It became like a of course kind of thing, right? It made me problem aware, because sales calls to me was just part of doing business, but it was a big problem. And that's when I took the red pill, because I couldn't unsee it after that point. It was a total problem. Because here's the thing, right? And here's another picture of like these secret underground marketers that became part of the society, right? And the thing is, it was a big problem because I was spending about 80% of my time of the business doing the sales calls, right? And it was the biggest bottleneck in the biz, and it was the big reason for my burnout practically. And here's the thing, I felt like I was trained to be a salesperson first, because the gurus tell us, hey, you got to do the sales calls, right? So I was practically a salesperson first, and I did coaching on the side. Like, what the fuck? Like, I signed up to be a coach, not a salesperson, and I never had time to enjoy my life. And now it's like, I can't go back because I've seen it. Like, I've seen the other side. I took the red pill, right? And after seeing hundreds of coaches doing this, by the way, selling without the calls and actually enjoying life, and a seed of an idea started to form. And here's the crazy thing. For a year and a half, I stopped doing everything, right? I shut everything down, and I went to the drawing board, went back to my old books and my trainings, and started to reimagine what a digital coaching business can be, what an info business can be, and what an enjoyable world could look like. So I started world building, right? Imagining a brand new type of business online, where we emphasize, yes, profits, of course, but also freedom, right? That emphasizes profit, life, and freedom first. And we're not just seeing it as a business, right? This is like a world building concept, right? So we are not just seeing it as a business, but how about we see it as an adventure? Reframe it that way. How about it becomes like a fun world that we journey into? And that was like one of the missing elements, that fun part, the sustainable part. Wow, of course, getting paid, a lot doing it, right? And this is very different from like the sales call paradigm that I was in. So the old sales paradigm was kind of like this, with the sales team or sales callers or a sales team, they both was like this old paradigm that I was stuck in, right? So these things don't improve over time as the business gets bigger. Like leverage stays low because one-to-one sales calls is a very unleveraged thing. And it's hard to scale one-to-one because that's what it is, like one-to-one. And it becomes like this big bottleneck. Profit percentage stays the same or it gets lower because of you're now paying your sales team now a big commission. So you lose profit to the sales team. Complexity stays the same, so scalability stays the same. It's hard to scale this because of so many people you have to hire if you're doing one-to-one sales calls. Freedom is also very low. And have you ever asked this question? Like, as a business gets bigger, how are my stress levels? Because I find as the business was getting bigger, my stress was getting bigger. You know what I mean? Stress was getting bigger and my mental freedom was getting worse at the same time, right? But the new model, the world building model, and we can design, a world that's based not just on like profit, but like fun, like building our world our way, okay? Our customizable world. The world building model emphasizes profit, leverage, simplicity, scalability, freedom, and this includes like low stress and mental freedom, and life. Answering this question, right? Does life get better as the business gets bigger? And of course, am I having fun? Am I having fun? And that's what I like to call world building or freedom world. So this is fun, profitable, freedom-based businesses that just works because we are using the power of digital leverage and the power of the internet, right? So that's how Freedom World was born. And it's a business, and in my opinion, it's a business that feels like an adventure. So I want to welcome you to a grand adventure, and that's fun, that's profitable, that feels adventurous, and it feels like a world that you just enjoy being part of, right? And I'm talking about your world, okay? Building your world. You are world building your world with high profits in mind, with high leverage in mind, that's super simple to run, building it with a team that you love to have around, with a tribe you love to be around, and everything is just super fun. So that's the world that we imagine inside of Freedom World, my friend.